Hi, everybody. Welcome to Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasek. I'm Mo, obviously, and every week I'm asking today's funniest artists how they got their act together. This show isn't about the best or most famous work, but it's about the work that means the most to them, their creative process, and why they make their art. As you guys know, I am currently at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with my stage play Worse Than You, and this season we're talking to Fringe headliners all pod long. Today's pod, we have a very special guest. We have a London-based artist and comedian whose accolades include being a Funny Women Award winner, Chortle Best Newcomer nominee, and BBC New Comedy Awards regional finalist. She got her comedy start in Berlin, and she has been performing stand-up in over 10 countries. Oh my gosh. Her preliminary focus is the human lived experience, reflecting back our intimate feelings and hopefully providing inspirational impetus for revolutionary acts. She believes that the best art walks with you through life. Everyone, please welcome Kate Cheka. Ready, set, show.
ABC Wednesday. Tim Allen and Kat Dennings star in the new family comedy Shifting Gears.
Dad, I'm broke and I need a place to stay until I figure out what the rest of my life looks like.
So, a couple of days.
When his daughter moves back in,
The last time you walked out that door, you looked back at me and gave me a double bird.
I was 18. The double bird was how I ended all our conversations.
the wheels come off.
Can we try to talk to each other like rational adults?
Have you watched the news lately? That's not a thing anymore.
Series premiere Wednesday, 8, 7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in Edinburgh times I'm good because like Edinburgh moods, the weather changes very quickly. Like it'll suddenly be tipping it down, then it'll be sunny and stuff. And I think the vibe and the motions are also the same.
And like I always, my litmus is always the people at the venues, like the tech and those people, because they have such a consistent schedule and constant work that when I check in with their moods and they're like, today is hell. And it's no different than yesterday, but it's hell.
Yeah,
I'm
then
like,
you know.
Yeah, the cycles of life, astrologically, physically, mentally.
Yes. It's not the best astrological time for Edinburgh Fringe.
I know.
I was almost not going to do it because I'm like...
Oh, so you are...
Oh, I really like
I used to freelance... Yeah,
Yeah,
reads.
so I was not going to do it because when I looked at my astrology for the year, I'm a Leo sun, Leo rising. So like real double Leo, that's obviously like...
When's your birthday? Have you already had it?
No, it's on Saturday, it's tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be talking with you.
Tomorrow,
So many Leos. My friend Kat
they're all
and my friend Demi.
comedians.
Yeah, that's true.
They're all performers, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's so funny. If we did like data set, it'd be all Leos at Friend.
Everyone's just having their birthday all month.
And like a few Pisces like me that are like, congrats.
Yes, the Pisces love to perform, but in a different way.
Yeah, we like
With
to
the
cry on
feelings,
stage. Yeah.
With the feelings, Pisces always there with the feelings. There's a Mercury retrograde in Leo.
In Leo.
Coming up. Like it's right now in Virgo, but it's going to move into Leo. I was like,
100%.
this Fringe is going to car crash.
Do you know what your Mercury's in?
It's in Virgo.
Oh, so
So it's currently Mercury retrograde in my Mercury.
So if anyone doesn't understand astrology, a quick rundown of this is Mercury, right, is the planet of communication. So if you look into your birth chart, you can see how communication might stylistically manifest for you. So if I have a Mercury in Pisces, so it's like when someone asks me how I feel, sometimes I send back a picture or a poem.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. Whereas Kate has a Mercury in Virgo, which is like already a Mercury-ruled planet, and also we have Virgos in our life. They get shit done. They are organized.
If someone asked me how I'm feeling, like unless...
Yes.
I'd always probably put it in a very rational way.
Rational, perfectionist.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't earned this feeling, however.
Yeah. And like, it's got a lot of coming to terms with that of like, you are allowed to have feelings.
Yes.
It's okay, you're a person. But then I have secret Scorpio moon. So all the feelings are there,
water.
all in the hidden Scorpio moon.
Well, the visual that comes to mind when I hear your chart, right, is steam, because you have fire, and then water. So it's like, imagine how steam permeates and lives through the world. That's hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
you almost didn't do Fringe because of the astrological.
Because I looked at this and I was like, this is a horrible setup for like Fringe. For me, for everyone in lots of ways. But like for me, I was like, this is a horrible setup. So I was really like, okay, I don't think I'm going to do it. And then I checked next year.
Okay.
And there's a
It's
Mercury
worse.
retrograde next year. And I was like, girl, you're going to just be... And then like also, I don't know which astrologer you like, but I really like Chani.
Oh, she's incredible. Yeah.
And Chani was like, always says, don't be afraid of the astrology. We don't fear the astrology. So then I was like, okay, we're not fearing the astrology. I have to just get on and do it. And just do what you advise, which is like Mercury retrograde is going to happen, so leave loads of space.
Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to leave loads of space, trying not to pile too many things in, trying not to do many things, trying not to chase too many people, like, you know.
Do you feel, so retrograde is when you review the planet appears to be going backwards, so things kind of fuck up or go wrong, or it's an opportunity to reflect. Do you feel already that some snafus have come up that you've had to deal with?
Oh, for sure. But that's, like, do you know what I mean? Is that Mercury retrograde or is that just Edinburgh Fringe? Like, I don't know. Like, there's, of course,
Sure.
It's been... I mean, yesterday I had like, it turned out, surprise, two reviewers in. And then one of them who'd very much told me that she was coming, didn't get a chair because like suddenly that was the day loads of my friends decided they wanted to just come. And I'd been like, of course, come, like we can fill the yurt. But then they took all the, so we had to like get a bench in at the front. It was like those sort of things where you're like, it's a bit like, and then I realized I hadn't printed out enough of like, there's a minute, everyone needs to sing a song in my show. So I have lyric sheets, didn't have enough of those. It was just like, okay, but it was like yesterday, the day before, I was so tired and I was like, I just need the extra hour in bed.
Yeah.
And so I just slept until a certain point and then suddenly realized I was like actually running quite late for my show. But that's just Edinburgh. Like I just, and like when things go wrong, I stood on my sunglasses as well before I started the show and they broke. So I was just like, it's just part of it. And I just laughed and I put them in my bag and now they're in my room and I just look at them and I'm like, ha ha ha. It's just those things. I keep like, things keep fucking up and I'm just like, it's just part of it. And now I'm just rolling with it.
I guess. But it is like logistical hell. I think that's the hard part of this space is because it's so quickly a turnaround that unless you have $1 million or 1 million people, it's like, you know, I had to like resew one of my costumes and then like, and then, you know, also had to go, you have to go flyer and do all these different things. And so it is like all those things of like, I want sleep. And then also I need to print out these things.
I want sleep. As though it's some kind of luxury that we, you know what, I would like some sleep.
I don't want to be greedy here, but
sleep,
but
babes.
It is very logistical. And it's, as artists too, we don't even then get to the emotions. And I'm interested in the fact because you cover, and in this space in Fringe, it's like, gosh, how people receive like hard stand-up or stand-up with a message. And it's like, how is that emotionally for you? Like going with your, and if you, we have a section here on the pod where we say too long, didn't read. So if you want to give a quick rundown of your show. And
okay.
Yeah.
Quick rundown of my show is, am I the Messiah or not?
Good question. Very Leo question.
Very Leo question. Like, am I the one that's saving the world?
Fine.
It's basically that is the show. It wasn't my intention to have that as my first show, but that's the first show that came up. And I think it's just because the world's like in a bit of a messed up place. The show was not done, let's say. I don't know if a show is ever really done, especially like something like stand-up. It's kind of constantly evolving. But and I think it like responds a lot to like zeitgeisty stuff.
Oh, sure.
But the show wasn't really like done before Edinburgh. And I have a very nice director because some white man somewhere has to be making money off you. Otherwise, is it
and I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you had a white man, you know, making money somewhere off the. Yeah.
To be fair to him, he is actually incredibly nice to me.
Of course.
Does quite a lot for not that much money. So I am incredibly grateful for his help. And he knows things that white men know that I don't know about industry.
On Jesus stuff.
Yes. And he knows where Jesus is. So that's really helpful for me.
No, I feel you.
He knows a lot of industry stuff that I don't know, and he's very nice and is very supportive. But we came to do my tech run the day before the show was supposed to start, and basically I'm in like this yurt, and it basically wasn't built, and it was like.
And you're supposed to do tech.
Yeah,
meaning
we were supposed
test
to
the tech in a space that's not even built.
And it was like not built. Things weren't plugged in. There were like a lot of teenagers running around that kind of like didn't. I assume teenagers, very young people.
No, they're all teens. They're all teens. Yeah,
running around, probably being paid like I don't know £1 an hour or something. Yeah, volunteers, and they were like running around. No one knew what was going on. Everyone looked like awfully stressed, and we were like, okay, there's no tech run to be had here. So we went. I was like, look, let's go get a cup of tea. So we went and got a cup of tea, and we were like going through the show. And he was like, okay, we were sort of like stuck on this bit where he was like, I just don't understand how this bit goes to this bit. I kind of can't really remember what he said, but he was sort of pushing me, and he was like, is there a way if you could say, but like, it's all going to be all right? Or like, he wanted like that kind of like turnaround. Closure,
happy.
Yeah. And I said, and then I just was getting really, really frustrated with him. And I was like, no, I don't don't have the answer for this. And then I was like, and then I just burst into tears and was like, no, because I can't make this right. I have no solution for this. It's like sort of a bit where I talk about like diversity and like in the UK and the comedy industry and like trying to solve these things and like actually I can't really solve it. And I was like, I have no solution, and I started crying.
Of course.
Poor middle-aged white man. he was
Reginald.
Like, Reginald. Yeah. He looked up. I mean Declan, but
Close enough.
close enough. He looked up and he was like, we don't know each other very well, but do you need me to give you a hug? And I was like, yeah.
What a sweetie.
And then he like gave me a hug, and then there was all these people around that were like, wow, first day of the Fringe and she's already having a breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were like looking over like, oh no. And then I was like, I like finished crying, and he was like, I don't want you to do this if it's going to fuck with your mental health, but I think we might have just found like the emotional core of your show. And I think it would be important if that was in the show, but I also think if there's like a 50-50 chance this will fuck with you getting on stage every day being sad, then let's not do it. And suddenly I had a sad bit in my show that I never intended to have.
Wow, that's beautiful.
But yeah, so yeah, that was an incredibly convoluted way of like, yeah, the emotions and like talking about like having a stand-up show with a message as well, which is like a different...
Oh, it's not convoluted at all. It's completely part of this process where I think, especially if your show is living and you're breathing with it, then it is so silly to be looking for answers, and I think a lot of people say they don't have them because they're uncomfortable acknowledging that
what
the hard thing
answer is.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've never done a sad bit with comedy, like ever. I never had an intention to, I don't think. Like I like it when people do it. I'm not against it, but I just always like was for me, like that's not for me. And then I just think it came, and I said like that, sometimes like you just get like, it's like universe downloads. I was like, oh, that's not my call. It's like, that's what came. And it would be, I think, remiss to not have it in like it wouldn't be the show it's supposed to be.
It's completely authentic. You have to keep it in. And I think it's also very, I guess exemplary of the message, because it's like, it is this idea that you as a woman of color are responsible for your own safety and care and acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And the exhaustion. And the answer is actually, no, you shouldn't have to be.
Right.
And that is like that moment of like, that is what happened.
Yeah.
And you included that.
Yeah. And like if I'm talking a show about saving the world and whether or not I can save the world, it's like, would I even know if I could save the world? Because they would never let a woman of color save the world, even if we would be the people that would.
Which is what would happen. Yeah.
Which we would be, by the way.
And what happens most of the time, yeah.
Which FYI, also, if we were in charge of the world, it would
Wouldn't
be better.
Be in the state, yeah, 100%. So, but that is, I think that's so beautiful that you, also, I do think that takes such courage to willingly incorporate that so quickly before you do it 25 times.
Yeah. I think the first show didn't have it in. I was like, the first show, we can't. But by the second show, it was in. And it's been there since.
I like to talk about, we say like clay on the mound, because I think writing-wise, things, especially coming from comedy, the method when someone says like, just do a shit draft, I don't always understand that. So I love in a technical way understanding like, this is how you made that moment. But as far as your stand-up goes, is it like you're waking up every morning and writing it, or are you living in rooms with it? Yeah.
Waking up in the morning, first of all, like I'm doing this for you right now.
First of all, hold up. Yeah.
But usually I'm not waking up in the mornings.
I appreciate that.
No, I don't tend to write it. I've never like sat down.
That's interesting.
The first time I sat down to write stand-up was when I was like, I have to craft an hour and I have to like figure this out. But no, I write it walking around. Usually I have my headphones on, but nothing in.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a big, and I have Notes app the house down.
My Notes apps are insane.
Yeah.
I wish I could pay someone to organize them, but they'd never understand what any of this meant, because sometimes I open Note apps and I don't know what's going on.
And then I'm too anxious to delete or go through, so I have them from like 2016.
Oh yeah. I have them from the whole of since the phone time.
That's what I got.
The Note apps are like full of stuff, and like sometimes I've written stuff when I'm drunk, and I'm like, God,
those are good.
Drunk Kate, we don't know what she wants.
Is drunk Kate more emotional or more like funny as hell? Okay, yeah.
Way more emotional. Yeah.
I think the funniest thing I've ever written down, like I did this festival in Maryland and like everyone was getting drunk and out in the wild, and I was like, yes, I'm feeling so artistic. And then I look at my Notes app the next day, and because this water had fallen onto a speaker, I thought I was a full artistic genius, because I wrote down when a speaker moves, you can see sound.
But there was water.
It was the idea that I could cross senses. Like I could see sound.
But you can maybe.
Yeah, sure.
You're like,
Don't
yes,
support
sure.
me. Don't support me in this. It was the dumbest shit I ever seen written in my life.
I now want to see that show.
Yeah, a person who wants
I can
to
see sound.
synesthesia, I guess.
Yeah, I can see sound.
That's what Mozart said he could do.
You're Mozart.
Oh my God, this whole time, you're Messiah, I'm Mozart.
You're Mozart.
We're these incredible white men.
You are. Well, Jesus not white, but
Oh yeah, true, very true.
we think of him as white, but
Yeah,
no,
100%.
But Mozart.
Now that we say this, I had an ex who was egomaniac, and one time people complimented him on his scene in acting class, and he didn't think he did that good, and he was British, so I can do a British accent. And he goes, "I mean, it's like complimenting Mozart on Bar Bar Black Sheep." But he was really hot, so I stayed dating him. So.
Was he or just British? Because sometimes I see, no offense, people from the US, people, I generally mean femmes, from the US, dating these British men who I'm like, what? And I'm like, they're like the most whatever British guy. And I'm like,
Okay,
you
sure.
have been tricked by this accent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you all know that you're being tricked.
Yeah.
Because
But
I'm always
do
like, what's happening here? Like, why would you date this whatever man?
Yeah,
Like,
but does that happen to you, like, with any accent? Like, in Berlin, do you see a person and you're like, whoa.
what
like,
German person? No.
They'll be like, hello, Kate, yeah.
I mean, I went through a phase of dating a lot of Germans, and I liked them a lot because Germans are very good in bed.
Yeah, technical.
Yeah, technical. Because they just treat it like a job.
They
that
get it
have
done.
To, they get it
the
done.
fuck done.
Yeah, they're like, it's a job I have to do, and I have to complete the job, so they get it done.
Bless them.
Whereas, on the whole, British people, we are more awkward around sex.
Sure.
So we just tend to get like very drunk and then we bang. Is kind of more the vibe, I would say.
Wait, okay, so I actually think I think how you do one thing is how you do everything. So
what?
I think, so that, yeah, fucking Mozart here.
Mozart very famously said, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mozart
which is why
said-
he brought the best to everything.
He said, heart of a champion. But I do think, like, you speak to truths, right? You speak to things that other people don't want to speak to. So it's like in your romantic partnerships, and like culturally, it feels like you're maybe saying the thing and people aren't.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like acknowledging
Wait, me personally?
Yes.
Oh, okay, wow, am I? Cool.
And you are, though, in your work. And I think, like, interpersonally, has that, like, I don't know, has needing to say that ostracized you from even your relationships or the intimacy that you bring? Like, do people not bring that back because of the culture of British people?
Wait, okay, this is really interesting. I feel like we're going deep, but also I need to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
I think I have this thing that most British people don't have, which is a certain directness.
Yes.
And it's in me, like naturally,
Yes,
of course. And I think
exactly.
it was in me as a child. But I learned to hide it because British people do not like it when you're
Exactly.
incredibly direct. And they don't even know that they don't like it, if that makes sense. They don't even know that
They just
are.
feel uncomfortable. They couldn't
just feel-
speak to it.
Yeah, they couldn't speak to it. But then I moved to Berlin when I was 25, and Germans are so direct in a way that can be quite disconcerting if you are British.
Really?
But yeah, like too direct, where like it comes across as rude. But it also
like,
is so
I hated it.
liberating because you just say to people like, "Hey, you're making friends? Would you like to hang out on the weekend?" And Germans will just say no. They'll just say no. If they don't
love
want to, they
them.
just say no. And it's actually, you just know where you stand with people. Whereas like someone, actually an American friend of mine, said to me, the British police are coming for us because they're like, stop telling the secrets.
Too emotionally open.
Shush! Don't tell them how we are.
How we are.
She said this thing that was like, British people will not let you know for like 2 years if they don't like you. Like they'll go to the pub with you, and they don't like
This is
you, but they
hell.
won't ever say it because they don't know how not to. And it's
like a people
if you
pleaser.
ask me, I think it's a thing from colonialism.
Oh, I feel that you could say that about anything about British people. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like having to pretend to be something, like to be the civilized one or pretending to be the smarter or superior and kind of not being and having to like pretend.
Performing togetherness.
Performing this thing and performing like we've got our shit together.
As a means of power, yeah.
Yeah, as a means of power over other people. And so it's like performing like, oh, I'm just being here and being nice, not stealing all your resources and murdering people.
And don't talk about it because it's impolite.
And we can't talk about it. And then there's loads of, So I think it just goes back to like a deep-rooted thing about that, if I'm honest. Which is why I think like the Irish probably don't have it.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
you
they're
just
a bit
track.
more
Yeah.
chill.
Well, because they also, similarly under the British rule, were told it's like don't talk about the thing because we're abusing you, and it's like
you can't talk about it.
Yeah, and so I mean it makes sense, but it's when you put it so directly like that, it is also like a little heartbreaking.
It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I feel very sorry. When I move back and I say quite a lot of stuff. Like I think people find me a bit disconcerting as a person because I just sort of say stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think I say stuff that you're not maybe supposed to say. But you can't be worrying about that because if you don't say the stuff, like it just made me sick my whole teenage years.
Okay.
Really mentally unwell because I was never saying the thing I meant and I never knew where I stood with people.
I love this though because I think there can't be enough credit given to you for not having someone tell you that that's what's making you sick, right, or whatever, and like the courage to then I'm gonna say this, and my producer, who's incredible, made me aware that you started stand-up because a former partner was like that you weren't funny or something. Like,
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know, those single moments where you're like, I'm sick of this. I need to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, it might seem like a small act, but it's life-changing.
It's life-changing. It changed my whole life. Like I was always like outgoing and stuff, but I would never say I was like getting on stage for the first, until February of this year, was just like always nerve-wracking for me, like a huge amount of nerves, really bad anxiety. Because I was just told my whole life to kind of like shut up and
I just got chills when you said that.
You are. Yeah. A little bit goosebumpy.
Yeah, I am. Well, because it's like, it is, we could look at you and be like, oh, she's so outgoing and whatever. It's like, no, but each time you do that, it is such courage because you've been told you're bad for it.
Because I was told my whole life, like I grew up in a really white space. I was just kind of told, like, people said at school, they were like, no one wanted to date me when I was a teenager, which is like fine. I got a boyfriend in the end.
It's fine. Fuck you.
It's fine. But someone once said like, oh, no one wants to date Kate because she's got such a weird personality, and like no one was going to date the only black girl. Do you know what I mean? It was
of
like
course.
certain things.
There were
and it
so
was like,
many layers of out.
Yeah, and it was always like I was also like a nightmare teenager because I was dealing with all of this stuff. So I was also like probably not that pleasant to be around for other reasons. But like I just couldn't. Yeah, it changed my whole life. Like I kind of just spent my 20s like sleeping with a lot of men I probably shouldn't have done, and like always outgoing in the pub around my friends. Always would say what I want, but like would never have spoken in public. Never would have raised my hand in like school or uni or whatever. And then comedy started giving me the confidence, and I sort of realized that other people. Not everyone, I wouldn't say my comedy's for everyone, but like certain people did really respond very well to my comedy. And then you're like, oh, okay. All of us want to say things, but not all of us are somehow able to say the thing.
And then let's work in like that sort of messiah anxiety where you're like, am I the only one that knows how to say exactly what I'm trying to say?
Wait a minute. I'm the one saying the
Holy
thing.
shit. I'm going to fix everyone emotionally. What? This is crazy.
I mean, I think the power of comedy is limited, but I think for a moment in a room, you can make people feel incredibly
I think those
seen,
moments...
and that's really nice, because life sucks. Capitalism is
Well, my whole play is about a single moment, right? Like, it's not like my whole play, but it's about trauma and like how we're in a moment where I was at my darkest, someone was just present with me, right? And it was someone just gave me a compliment. It wasn't that I received the compliment or anything. It was just like, hey, I exist with you. And I know in my heart of hearts that if that experience hadn't happened, I truly might not be here. Like, I was in such a horrible place. And so I think, and I don't, you don't live going, every moment is the highest stakes, but you do live with the awareness that a moment can change.
Yeah, that
everything.
you can change your whole life.
Like your room, the people who hear you talking, imagine someone who grew up like, in an all-white space or was queer or direct, and hadn't done what you've done in the past 10 years, performed, and then gets to hear that, and all of a sudden all this like guilt and shame is washed away in a single second.
Yeah. I think it's really important to have those moments for people. And so, and the fact that you're also doing a show that's about like this.
Yeah.
This is the face of someone who,
I'm like, no
who is
problem.
doing a lot of emotional work on stage.
No problem. I love crying every day.
Thanks. Where do you go after you're crying?
Emotionally?
No, physically, literally, but also emotionally. Where do you go after?
Emotionally, I go a lot of places. Physically, I mean, there's just no time to do anything here. I have working my day job, and so I have to go back to my place and, send emails. And I've been dancing with friends where we can and seeing shows with friends, and that's been so nice. But it is that also performer perfectionism of like, I need to get sleep because then tomorrow's performance won't be good, but I also need to emotionally decompress. Also, and so there's so many. Yeah. Ooh, and so.
A lot of layers. I feel like sauna, if you like sauna vibes. Or
do you like infrared sauna?
I don't know if maybe I've done infrared once, but I usually just go to the regular one. I think Europeans tend to be on the old
I did talk about Mercury in retrograde. I did so I do like myofascial release because I used to play sports. My body is like, it kind of goes back into patterns pretty quickly, and especially with carrying all my tech and stuff to and from. And so I was like, let me schedule 2 different ones a week apart because I can see the vibe here. Nope. I get a call. Both are the same day. Both are non-refundable. So it's like, okay. Like I woke up, I went to like one guy who like stood on a board and absolutely crushed my back, which was incredible. Okay. And then I go to another, I have to take
the same day.
An hour after each other. And that was all before my show. And then I have another guy who, thank God I actually went to both because the second guy was no bueno. And but he did try and crush my back. I couldn't do it. And
because the other guy had already crushed it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But it's so funny because it's like, even trying to help yourself here, it's like... Yeah,
it's real hard. I've been going home every day and just lying down in the dark.
Really? Have you... Golly. So do you like go to shows at all right now? Or are you still...
I'm on a 1 show maximum a day.
Wow.
I like love all my friends and I love... Like, I will only basically go see people I know.
That's kind of where
in
I'm at
IRL,
too,
or like someone who I'm like desperate to see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm really nice. How to say this? But I will not do more than 1 a day. I just can't.
It's
I can't.
A good boundary.
My brain.
I feel you.
It's too much. It's too much stuff to absorb, actually, for me.
Well, because also it sounds like you're someone, right? Like I feel like, more direct people and more, discerning people really take things in. And like are present with it.
I absorb everything. So
it's gonna affect you.
Yeah.
And so I similarly in the same way where I'm like, I'm gonna think of every moment that puppeteer like paused and did this and like for the next 6 months.
Yeah. And also when you do stand up, like if I watch stand up, it just turns my comedy brain on. And then I know, not all the time, like sometimes they will get me and I'm like, surprise. But like usually I'm like, I know what's coming in the way the audience don't know. And so I'm like, and they're going to say this. And then they say it. And I'm like, yeah, that was a good joke. But it doesn't do the same thing to me as it does to other people.
How is it doing comedy then at 12:25, is it?
12:25 in the morning.
Party Rock is in the house tonight.
12:25 p.m. I want to be really clear. That is midday.
Yeah, midday.
It's wild because I do so many sex jokes. And it's wild asking people about threesomes at that time of day.
Again, UK people.
Yeah. British people, especially. So it is, it's a wild time. It was the time I got. I do address that. It's very weird. But I'm just like, the positive of it is my anxiety is like, I wake up, I'm anxious for the morning. I go and do my show. And also I'm too tired in the mornings to be anxious. So I'm just like, it's just morning time. I've never been up at this time. Like I don't...
Really? Are you full night?
I'm just completely a night person, yeah. I have like no desire. Nothing good happens in the morning.
It burns.
My mother sent me an article the other day about how night owl people are apparently more intelligent than morning lark type people.
Morning lark, I haven't heard that. It's so beautiful.
Isn't that the thing?
Well,
Larks
that's a mirror owl, but we have like a morning person, I guess, or like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You're either lark or an owl.
No, that's beautiful. The lark didn't make the jump across the pond. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
You're like, we have owls.
Fly as far. Yeah.
Larks.
we have night owls. We don't have morning larks, but.
Oh, that's the names for
I love
morning
that.
people.
I love
We call
that.
them larks.
They get to be larks.
And night people are owl people. And apparently my mum sent me an article, which I didn't read, obviously. I've not read an article.
It was
I
early
read
in
a
the morning.
headline and I'm like,
Yeah.
I get the point. It's going to be that people who are at night are more intelligent.
You can data track it. Yeah.
And then
You're
my
smart.
mother said to me, have you read the article? And I said, no, but I get the gist. And then she was like, yeah, because she always got so mad at me because she's such a morning person. And we're the opposite, basically. And I was like, I'm not surprised that the night people are more intelligent. The morning people are obviously the people that are supposed to be like in the field doing peasant.
You're talking like, and evolutionarily, they are just physical laborers.
They're not just like physical, but like just doing like the gardening and stuff, like doing the thing. And then the night people are like the philosophers that are like sitting around the fire.
But they're also processing
everyone's
the day
asleep, and then they're like
intellectually.
guarding the camp, and we're like, okay, like, is this the way we want to keep living?
I agree.
Yeah, and that's
you just open your mouth like, hey, like, that's a big thing.
Yeah, and then that's why capitalism's just like fucks us, because all the morning people are in charge of society. That should never have happened. The morning people should never be in charge of society.
I love this.
The night people are in charge of society. The morning people just get up.
See,
and do
but
their
this is
morning
why
stuff.
we can't though, because it's always like every queer, marginalized, neurodivergent person of color is like, we are all convening at night, and then it's like, and then, it's a giant metaphor, but it's like they start the clock before we're up.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And then they do loads of like scam stuff while we're trying to have a nice life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Everything about it is scam.
It's hell on earth.
Yeah.
See, here's my thing though. I differentiate because when I am up in the morning, I am happy as a clam.
Oh.
I'm like great mood, love being up.
Oh, wow.
I will not choose to wake up though. I would choose to stay up late.
But you are happy as a clown when you're doing your...
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, morning people, it doesn't just mean you're happy. I think if I'm designated anything, I'm a night owl because I'm up. I'm Googling things.
I'm awake at night.
I'm awake, and I like that. But if I am to be up in the morning, look at that sun. Look at those people.
Oh, no, I am not happy.
Is this a lifelong thing?
Yeah, I've always been like that. Like, I couldn't wake up for school. Like, it was just...
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I've just always... I can't do it. I can't. I got fired from jobs because I'd just be, like, late.
I think there's something, like, medical and circadian about certain people's rhythms, and I think the world isn't set up for them, and I think that's hard.
Yeah, it just isn't. I don't have any sense of... I'm never happier in the morning. And also, I've dumped people for waking me up.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. I adore that. That's powerful.
I hate being woken. And like, actually, one of the people I dated recently, he was like,
I hate this energy.
He
that
woke
just
me up.
That I hate. There's a window right here, and this man just walked by, and
dump him. I don't even know him.
Yeah, he's dumped. He's dumped so quick.
But I wouldn't even.
No, he wouldn't even get the chance to wake you up early.
Yeah, he wouldn't. But yeah, someone recently was like. He woke me up and then he was like, whoa, I'm not going to do that again because you seem pretty pissed off about it. I was like, who isn't pissed off? I love sleep. I live for sleep.
Wait, this was recent?
Like, this isn't that recent, but like, I was like, I live for sleep. But this other white guy, he woke me up. We'd gone to stay at my mother's house because I'd gone to like a friend's birthday that was in my hometown. And so he was there, he'd met my mother, and we'd been out the night before for her birthday, whatever, great time. The Sunday morning, my mother was going somewhere.
Okay.
And he woke me up. I couldn't believe this. He woke me up to say goodbye to my mother. He was like, wake up, your mother's leaving, don't you want to say goodbye to her? I am an only child of a single mother. I've seen that woman. I love my mother.
I'll see you, and I'll see you again.
I'll see her again. I've never in my life, my mother wouldn't even, she wouldn't think to wake me up to say goodbye. Like, she wouldn't think to wake us up. Like, we've never done that.
He's completely projecting his family values.
I was like, what in the hell? I was fuming. I was like, to see my mother, to see that woman I see all the fucking time, all of my life, who I have the number of. Like, she's not, oh God, when am I going to see Judith again? I see her all the time. Like, what are you talking about? I lived with her in the pandemic. I had 2 years of her. I'm great for Judith.
He said that
she was baffled.
This is, Stars Born, I'll Never Love Again. He said, you have to say goodbye.
He was like, you've got to say goodbye to your mother. He was like, your mum's going, don't you want to say goodbye? Why?
Why was he
Why
up
would I
to
say
know
come on?
that?
You get back to sleep, like everyone. And I just like I was like, I couldn't believe it.
I love this.
That someone had done this, and then we broke up.
Do you think that, so was that why? Are you somebody that like is like...
I didn't tell him that was the reason why, because that sounds like really shallow. So I was like, no, it's just...
Are you someone that will like cut bait if one thing happens like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes, which is why I am single.
Well, don't worry. I'm single and I don't cut bait ever.
Really?
I do cut bait, but emotionally I cut the bait. But I'll chit chat. I'll be like, oh yeah, it was up. You know what I mean? I'm never.
What, you're like still around and you're like, yeah, maybe this will work.
No. That I don't. But I'm like, to me, like even allowing them to not be blocked.
Right. I don't think I block people that much, but I tend to just snip and go.
Really?
Yeah, because like
it feels very Seinfeld of you.
I don't know Seinfeld enough to know.
Is he go through? He'll like break up. He'll be like, "Oh, her hands were big," or "Oh, her voice was weird." "Oh, he woke me up
no,
early."
I won't break up because someone's hands are big. I think big hands good. Maybe
it seems like akin in its arbitrariness to.
I will break up with you
up.
for waking. I'm just fuming if you wake me up. I don't understand. Why would I want to be more in this world? Have you seen this world? It's a fucking dumpster fire. Why would I want to be awake for more of it? I love being asleep.
Sure.
Because when I'm asleep, I'm like, nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And I'm a Leo. You don't wake a sleeping lion.
That's actually so true.
You just leave us be. And I'm so happy. And if you want to wake me, like naturally, just let me wake up naturally. But also just bring me like a cup of tea, and I'm like relatively happy.
I think that's actually a really good request, because it's like, hey, my needs in the morning like are like XYZ.
Yeah.
If you can't, I do not like anybody, especially when you're in living spaces together in relationships, that need you to have the same. Like,
what is this? What is this? I've been seeing this around Edinburgh. Like I've been seeing like these couples where it's like a married couple, and they're like always heterosexual, of course, and it's like obviously the wife really wants to go see this thing, and then there's a man there who's fuming about having to watch this comedy show or whatever.
Buddy, don't
do
go
it
for
together.
A walk,
do
friend.
something. Yeah. This idea that we have to like do something together.
Friend? Hey, buddy.
Hi.
Well, he's happier. We're talking on microphones. We
Okay.
are. Thanks, friend.
Oh, you don't know this man?
No.
Oh my God! I assumed you knew this person.
No, okay. For the listeners, there is a open window and like kind of like travelers or people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know any of these people.
I thought you knew that man. He was so friendly.
Yeah.
He was like so wavy.
Yeah. No, he like, and then he like mimed.
Oh, he's just a weirdo.
Yeah. I don't know what he was miming though. He's miming mics, but it could have been a dick. He's like blowjob.
See, nothing good happens in the morning. That's my point.
For the listeners, a man walked past the open window, was so excited to see both of us, and then started waving and then miming our mics. And you know, I hope he has a good day.
Do we?
No. Wait. Oh my gosh! It's too early for me to keep track of the thread, but.
Yes, I would break up with people for waking up.
There we go. If they wait. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Like when people like force you, like to or like I dated someone who drank tea and like in the morning, and he was like, "You should really drink tea. Coffee's not." I'm like, "Bitch, I drink fucking coffee."
Just let people be people. I don't get it. I don't understand the need to like have everyone's behavior monitored towards each other. Like I would never, if you want to go to bed, I'm never going to be like, you need to stay up, because what I like to do until 1 a.m, which I do, like I like to scroll on my phone. It's not good for me, blah blah blah, but I like doing it. But I would never force someone else.
No.
I'd be like, you scroll on your phone. I'd be like, you go to bed.
Go to bed.
And I'll be in when I'm in.
I do think in heterosexuality and what's been portrayed in media, there is a codependency of like, you go to bed at the same time, you eat the same foods, you do it. It's like, no. Like, I love hanging out with you. I don't need to have your dietary restrictions.
No, like, that's not what I want for breakfast. I want this. You know?
Say the fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't want breakfast until the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have breakfast food in the afternoon?
Yeah.
That's nice.
I have like a brunch kind of vibe around sort of midday one.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like when people don't have breakfast and then go straight to lunch. I'm like, you can have breakfast at 3.
No, you've got to have a breakfasty thing.
Yes.
But like I'm British, so I have eggs. That's what happens.
That's good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really good at keeping track of time, and actually I'm doing good. So we are moving into our final segment, which I don't know. Have you been prepped about what it is?
No.
Okay. So
maybe. I don't know. There's a lot going on.
You ain't got to tell me twice. Don't threaten me with a good time. So the final segment is called Thank You for Holding My Poems. Oh. And it's born of the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova, who under the Great Terror, her poems, because they were so revolutionary and radical, were illegal. And she couldn't write them or print them, so she had all of her friends memorize edits of her poems over the course of 30 years until it was legal to publish. Oh, really beautiful.
So cute.
And so I would love for you just to share any experience or moment that might not seem super big or like massive in this whole experience. Or, you know, it's similar to the Declan cry moment, but like, what is a poem that we, the listeners and myself, can hold for you? A meaningful moment that is a lot to you as an artist or person that I like. For me, an example is like a compliment a barista gave me on a day. It's like I felt like shit, and it was like, hey, I'm gonna hold that in my heart forever. And it might seem small to you, but that is a poem that I will hold. So if there's a moment that comes to mind that you want to share with us, we will hold your poem.
There's so many.
Oh, okay. Let's do them all. Let's rapid fire. Yeah.
No, I feel like the thing. Okay, there's a couple, and it's compliment stuff, and it is related to comedy stuff. When I was very, very new, sort of 6 or so months in, I did a competition in the UK. Like, I was still living in Berlin, but I flew in to the UK for the BBC New Comedy Awards when it was still on the radio. And I flew in and I did this gig in Manchester. And I was so anxious. My friend George had to make me so many like rolly cigarettes because I was so anxious, and I was just chain smoking until like the moment I went on stage. And I'd been in Berlin and I'd been doing it in the back rooms of pubs. And suddenly I was about to do it in 500 people in the Comedy Store in Manchester.
Oh my God.
And I walked on the stage and it was like, it felt like I froze for like a minute, but I think in reality it was probably like 10 seconds. But it was like, and then I did my set and it was good. It hadn't gone badly, but I didn't get through to the next round. And my friend George said, I think it was very close. I think you would have been.
I love George.
It was between you and someone else. And basically I think they went with the other person who was also debuting at the same time. He doesn't know, but we have like a fake rivalry in my head where I'm like always got like a fake rivalry with him. But actually he's just like a nice guy and he has
He's probably walking around like, oh, I've seen her stand up. She's so funny.
He's like, he's like, Kate's nice. And I'm like, yeah. And he's also like, he said some very nice things to me before. But
F him.
Fuck this. One of which was like, I don't think you're a club comedian. I think you would be someone who would do a very like thoughtful fringe show, like, which is nice because that was when I was. Anyway, that was a whole other thing. But basically, someone after that show, I was like, obviously that kind of like classic, I didn't get through. The competitions make you feel even when you try not to care about them.
Oh my gosh,
And there was like a sort of bit of like a pizza after party, and they said to George, should we go? Like George was like, let's go back and stay at my house. And then we left the venue, and this couple had waited for me. Oh. And they were like an interracial couple. And they were like, oh, we just really enjoyed your set because our daughter is mixed race, and we were just so happy to hear someone talk about the mixed race experience. And it's moments like that. I've also had that with like a mixed race black woman who said to me after a show, you said things that I've always thought and I've never heard anyone say out loud. And it's those moments that I try and remember when I don't get the like the agent or the you know, I don't get the accolades or I don't get like, you know, the spots that other people get and so on, because racist and sexist. But it's those moments I try and remember that it's like, it's for those people who will wait for you after a show and let you know because you made them feel seen. And that's what I try and like keep in my mind. And was the thing I would like you to hold for me, please.
I mean, I'll cry thinking about that because it's similar to, you know, the person who gave me a compliment. It's like, that impacted their lives. That really did. And it's not, you know, like grandiose to be like, I changed your life. It's like, no, that is what keeps me going through, you know, because it's like they are saying, hey, you're not in a void. You're not just throwing this all out to get an agent. Like, I'm here with you. And it's like, that is juice for you. That is fuel. That is beautiful.
And that's what we have to do because the world is fucked and we all have to like hold each other and be
like.
Community
is the only thing.
Yeah. And be like, we're all seeing each other. You're not just a cog in the machine to make loads of people money.
It's exactly that. Oh, I really wish I could talk to you for 100 years because I also want to talk about the idea of like talking about climate change and like within comedy. We'll have you back. We'll talk. I'll go down to your yurt and I'll bug you. But is there a place where people can find you?
Yes. If you're in Edinburgh, you can find me at 12:25
every day,
every single day, in the wee yurt, which is near the Pleasantstone underpass. Yes, just show up, basically. With some days are selling out, but yeah, just show up.
Woo! Let's go, sell out.
And if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Kate Cheka, Cheka, Mawam.
Well, thank you, and thank you for joining this week. I always forget if I have a sign off, but I always think it is put in post because my producer is incredible. So I love you all so much, and until next week, bye. That was a really good episode. We talked about a lot of really good things, some cool stuff, some interesting stuff, some stuff I'm gonna go Google. Or, ask Jeeves if we don't want to give in to monopolies. Alta Vista, Babelfish. How old are we? Talking to Gen Zers, so they don't know what that is. I love you with all of my heart. Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is hosted by me, Mo Fry Pasick. You can learn more about this week's guest and the Worse Than You team by checking out the show and episode copy. It's on your phone, the thing you are touching so often. Sanitize it, my God. For more on our journey to the Fringe and to buy tickets to Worse Than You, the stage play, which, let's do that, head to worsethanYouPlay.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram. I know you're scrolling constantly and, well, it's the least you could do. Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is produced by Disco Nap and Kinahora Productions. Oh my God, you're so pretty.